So, good morning, brothers and sisters. My name is Kevin, and I want to share a little experience that I did yesterday because I think that it might be able to help out some people. At least I hope it will. Um, because I've really been. Because yesterday I was personally struggling a little bit with um, a lot of things, but it all started honestly with looking at different YouTube videos and getting to know too much in the sense that um, we all know that the world that we live in today it's far from perfect. It's with a lot of war, with a lot of violence, a lot of individualism um, within the society, a society that's broken, that doesn't really rely on trusting each other. We have a lot of rules, a lot of bureaucracy, and the free will of people it gets suppressed more and more every day. And like I'm personally having a strong conviction that if we go this way and keep on following the same path, that eventually it will lead to something very destructive. It will either be a war or a revolution or maybe food insecurity, one of those things. It wouldn't surprise me. And that those thoughts can be very how do you say that? Like they are not good for your mental state of being. They drain you because it's so negative. It's so pessimistic. And um, as someone who wants to do good for the world, of course you want to solve the issues. You want to contribute to the solution. And I one of the things that I've experienced yesterday is, of course, the fact that these things are coming, and it's the question whether or not we can actually prevent them from happening. And it's quite a heavy burden to say, um, okay, if we don't actually manage to avoid these things in life, then life is gonna suck and life will fail and it's gonna be detrimental. And well, this is obviously on some occasions completely true. You as an individual, or maybe I as an individual, might not be able to solve the entire issue, which on its own is another negative thought which keeps you from actually pursuing doing anything, any good in the world. And that's also not what you should be doing, I believe, because even if you can't solve the entire issue, maybe you get you push a snowball off a hill, and that snowball keeps growing, and you won't see the end of where the snowball is gonna hit the wall and how big it is. But the fact that you get a snowball rolling is maybe worth something, because other people might eventually take over your work and continue it, and that's something to put hope of, even if things are a little bit difficult to grasp and look scary and bad things might happen. It is something that at least gives you the impression that, or give not even gives you the impression, it's like it gives you the reassurance that anything that you do now is good, and anything that you do now is better than sitting waiting out and doing nothing. And that's just one thing which might help if you, like me, are sometimes a little bit pessimistic or skeptical, maybe a little bit anxious about what our future has to offer us. And then the second thing that for me personally applies and hits very hard home is I got to think real clear right now. The other thing is, yeah, that I completely forgot about the presence, the present time of being here now. and being grateful for what you have now, what's around us. Because if you have to pitch a negative story, obviously that will lead to resistance. And our human bodies and human brains actually they aren't designed to take up negativity like that and be so detrimental. Most people either become like me, very pessimistic and negative, and they just paralyze. Other people, they might just shut down and they don't want to hear it because it's confronting people with actions that they might do that are harmful for other people. And I don't believe that any human in the true heart is actually bad. So it's not nice to be confronted with these things. So how do you actually like bring it in a way that's not self-destructive, but also does apply a little bit to other people? And I think the way is to just think about what you got today and don't make your mind dependent on the thought that if you can't change if for the better of tomorrow or the future, then how do you say it? You're not only not a like you're not a failure, but also um, I think the word that I'm looking for is desperation. So um, you shouldn't make yourself dependent on the outcome. And I don't really know how to phrase it perfectly in English. I'm very sorry for that. But if I were to like say my life isn't good until I've reached this point, until I've made this change, then you're never gonna be satisfied and you're never gonna be moving forward, because only if you can only be happy for yourself, for others, when something is achieved, then that's gonna empty you inside. And a better way to go about it, to not empty yourself inside, is to absorb all the positivity, and I mean more like absorb the gratefulness that you can have for life today, and say, okay, this I'm so happy that I have all these things in my life. But don't paralyze yourself at that point, but try to be cautiously ambitious. So I'm grateful for all the things that I have in life, and it would be wonderful if I could even manage to like improve one or two or three or four points, heading forward today, because that leaves room for like, yeah, seeing what's gonna play out, but and giving you this natural kind of curiosity to pursue also things. And also don't be hard on yourself, because you have a curious mindset. You're gonna be looking at it like, okay, if it doesn't work, then I've learned something. So you flow more naturally towards your ambitious self, instead of like, yeah, if you can't feel whole without certain things in life. I know a video that talks about that, about if you need something to feel whole, then you really yeah, you're factually missing something. And it's all about like, you shouldn't need something to feel whole or good. You should really feel like you want something. It's something that you naturally gravitate towards, because that's just who you are. That's just your personality. That's a stronger way of moving forward and having a foundation. And I don't say that you necessarily get more done this way, but it might help at least preserve your own energy, take care of your own self in a way that you can get potentially more out of yourself. And also, probably, if you come from desperation, then peop- then most people are likely not gonna take your message the same as when they see that you're literally in peace, because you've accepted that today is a good day, and it would be cool if tomorrow would be an even better day. That's probably something that appeals a lot more to society, and thereby you are probably able to make a bigger impact and actually help more people out than when you're looking purely at the facts objectively that things aren't good, and you're gonna ramble like which direction we all collectively need to get into. And one thing that I personally like, I think a lot about these things in a political sense, is um, how do you address certain things. And I want to just close off with simply saying one of the ideas that got popped up in my mind, and that's when people ask you like, what is the difference between you and another party, or what is the difference between, yeah, what is your main selling point? And if you say, yeah, the global warming is bad, so we need to cut our CO2 emissions, then you're getting a little bit of friction because you're implying that everyone needs to do that. Whereas something, I don't know why it clicks, but when I would say I personally think that we aren't designed for a system like this where we compete for each other for a living instead of actually working together to form a society that has longevity and can actually sustainably move forward. Wow, those are some heavy words. I think they're not. Probably some people will grasp their head and think like, "What on earth did he just say?" But that's what I'm trying to say. Is like the message that it says. I think we're not designed to live in the system that we live in today, and I'm not saying that anyone needs to change. I'm not saying that someone does wrong. I'm blaming it on a structure that hate or love it, but it's not an end. It's not a person, it's not an entity that you blame. It's just an observation that you share that might click to people and are like, I actually feel like that observation is also applicable to me. And I think everything starts with having a couple observations that are mutual. And if you look at those things from a political sense, I think people will grow much quicker, much closer to each other because we have a lot of mutual ground. And we all get distracted by the facts about what's best, and obviously facts matter, but don't make them personal when there are obviously other things and more neutral observations that you can point towards that need change. Um, and honestly, that's what I wanted to say. I dragged this video out a little longer than expected. I thought, hey, I will probably make it like 6 minutes and only talk about like what the title was implying that I would be talking about. But it eventually turned out to be a little much more than that. So, well, everything is good with the world for me. At least I think it's nice for me to get this message out of my head onto my phone, and I feel like it can be a message that could help other people. So that's always nice about when I talk to my phone like this. And I don't know if it will, but I'm sincerely hoping it will help in some way to other people. So for all the people who clicked on the video and watched to the end, thank you very much. I hope you sincerely hope that you picked up some value out of this video today, and move forward with your lives, and yeah, just have a great time for the rest of the day. So cheers, peace, and don't watch this at 3 a.m. That's not good for your health either. Hey, goodbye.